Hi, hello. So, this video is gonna be like a quick guide to flying in Chamonix and Passy area, basically. So, let's look on the video and then I will tell you something about this.
Tylko taktyczny zawrót do tego, do zdjęcia. Było nas tu 4. Tamten jeden w sumie był nisko, się wykręcił. Tamten jest za nami, a jeden poleciał do przodu dosyć mocno. Od razu do skały poleciał, tam niżej. Nie kręcił tu, tylko ciekawe gdzie on tam jest, bo nie widzę go.
Okay, so the mountain you see in front of you is Mont Blanc. It's the highest in Europe. And this here to the left, this is the Chamonix Valley. And I move a little bit. So here actually it should be somewhere around here. This is Chamonix, the city, and somewhere around here is gonna be the takeoff Bravo, basically. This is a takeoff where you can actually take a cable car. You go pretty high; it's around 2,000 meter high. The takeoff. So you can take off even if there's like a pretty stable conditions, like in summer where you cannot fly anywhere else because the air is just a strong inversion. And here you can take off pretty early and you're pretty high. And from this place you can fly the other direction. So this is actually east. Here is west. This is north, and this is south. So basically, you can fly to the east into Switzerland. There is valleys. And but you pass near Martigny, which is a very tricky place with very strong winds. So you should know what you're doing if you fly this direction. You may, if you start early, this part is all in the shadow basically. So flying this direction, I have no experience with this. And then you can typically, what people do is either they fly to Switzerland or they fly this ridge here, taking into account there are many natural reserves here, so restricted airspaces, and then they follow on the other side, which is and so this is the takeoff. Now that's Switzerland here, and here you can fly here and then follow this side. This is exposed to the east, so early in the morning it works pretty nicely if you are high. And this is here down there behind the mountain, this is Passy. And here there is the takeoff Plein Jour, very nice takeoff for beginners. Taking off here, it's not so good for beginners because they have like cable car lines just in front of the takeoff. And it's, basically this is just this. And if you take off a bit later, then you're gonna have a lot of wind in the valley. You may have very strong thermals and or sinking air, like large areas of sinking air. It's actually a huge mountains with a very strong valley wind system here. So it's it may be tricky. And starting from noon till late afternoon, there's gonna be a lot of wind here. So, and the landing options here are very limited because it's densely populated area basically. So yeah, I mean, it's not really a beginner friendly place. However, if you come here and tons of wind, I mean, it's like 35, 40 and above kilometers per hour wind here in the valley is normal. So not very beginner friendly. But if you move to this side, so this Plein Jour, there is Passy just behind this mountain. And so this is a very nice place for beginners because this is pretty well protected from the wind if the wind is coming from the north or even west. So, and also here the valley is pretty, what happens here, this is the north and this is northern part of the Alps basically. So the wind is flowing here. This is Salonge. It's very strong here because it's like Venturi here. So here it gets really strong and the wind goes like here and the Saint-Gervais, and then also continues behind the mountain into this valley. So on this side of the valley, you will have a lot of wind, and actually here on the side of the Passy side, so to say, the northern side of this very wide valley, there is very little wind. So this is really good for beginners. And although the landings, there are two landings, and the one is huge and easy. The other, which is more accessible, is closer. Actually, it's pretty small, so this may be a little bit tricky. But otherwise, it's a very nice place for beginners, and you take off with the view actually on the Mont Blanc. It's a very beautiful place. The only disadvantage is that this Plainjou takeoff here, it is basically at altitude of I think 1,200 meters, something like this. And this means that if this is a stable day, you are pretty low, so it will the thermals here will start very late. I mean, they won't start before noon. Typically, on the good day, they start around noon, and on the bad day, much later. So there is another takeoff. The big advantage also here is this like huge parking lot, and they also have like on this parking lot part is reserved for camping. So they have showers, wash machines. Yeah, this is it basically. Toilets, water, and so you may have this actually if you stay here. It's a very nice place to stay. Although it's full in the sun, there's no shadow. It's extremely hot since it's exposed to the south. So this is the disadvantage. But it's a very beautiful place, especially for the beginners. Nice, relatively easy takeoff. Many people flying, so but not so many as in Annecy. So you can see if it's more stable or not. There are also many, I don't know how many actually, but there are some schools. So there are always some knowledgeable people around to ask if you are in doubt. Yeah, and the landing options. Maybe the first one, not the largest one, but the second is pretty large. Um, and then you have, if you wanna avoid this, yeah, being you need to wait so long to be able to take off. If this is like a stable weather, or in noon, the good day is still pretty late, so you can actually go. And somewhere around here is Varon. Varon is another takeoff. You have to walk actually to the Varon, something like I don't know, maybe it's like 200 or 300 meters up from the place where you can leave your car. It's a very nice takeoff. Huge shadow and trees, and actually you can stay there like do barbecue. And I mean there's not no water if I remember correctly, but it looks a little bit like a golf field, like a pretty nice grass and really perfect, beautiful place. And it's already a bit higher. I think it's something like 1,600 or 1,500, so it's easier to take off early. And once you take off here early, then again you may climb up, and you may either go this direction, Switzerland, or you may cross further, and this is Aravi. So you may get to the Aravi and then continue basically till Grenoble. This is like the highway in this area, basically the Aravi, and then later Bosch. Um, yeah. And then you have also another option. So you may either fly here or you may fly behind. Um, I've only did this like flying here behind there. So actually in this valley here there's a very strong wind. So you have to be aware of that coming from this like this, from this direction, from the north. And but if you are high enough, you are over this valley wind, so you can actually go here. Here is a very nice house thermal, like crazy strong, and it's gonna just catapult you whatever altitude there is. It's gonna be pretty high on a nice day, but this is the place where you get the best thermal to the highest place, basically, just in front here. And if you are high enough, then there is no valley wind, so you can actually you are above the valley wind, so basically you can fly behind there and then to the Lake of Geneva, even if you like, or you fly to the RAV, as I said, to Grenoble, or you fly RAV and then you cross on the other side, either here over the top or in the Col des RAV, which is a little bit here, and you may actually fly to Annecy. This is like a pretty good spot to start flying. There's Varan also a little bit later, and much later, the Plainjou. You may also do Plainjou and then cross to this side and continue. This is Saint-Gervais here down there, and continue towards that valley, but that's also pretty windy. It's also Majev. Let's see if we can see this here. So now this is Plainjou. Chamonix is behind on the left. Mont Blanc here. So now you see the wind is coming like here, sharp, flying here, but also flying here, this valley. Saint-Gervais is here, down there. And basically we also continue in this Saint-Gervais valley. Or go jump those mountain here and then fly over Megève and Bizan. It's another mountain, and to go like this to Albertville. Yeah, you have tons of options actually flying from these places. This is a pretty universal place to fly. However, only Brevant is the place where you can start very early. But if you want to start early, then what you can also do is to take off on this RV side here. There is takeoff La Planète, I think it's the name of that, and you actually take off direct in RV, so pretty early, but it's not so high. You're I think something like 1400 maybe, and but you still can, yeah, you are on the good side already on the mountain, so if it starts thermaling here, you can climb pretty quickly, and then you're on the RV, which is basically the highway. Or you may also go, the biggest flights are probably all done from the place behind here, which is over the cruise. There is Tête de la Sala. So this is quite a long walk because from the parking lot is something like 700 meters of walking up a road or trail you can choose, and then you take off on the eastern side very early at 2000 meters. So if the weather is nice, you take off 10 a.m. and you are on the highway to Grenada, basically. Yeah, it's a pretty nice place. And now for the beginner, one remark from my own experience: the crossing from this side to the RV is pretty long. And if you do it a little bit later, then you have a lot of wind here in the valley. So it's important to understand that going near this, I mean, if you do it early in the morning, then there's not much valley wind and you don't have those constraints. But if you fly a little bit later, then you have a lot of wind here. So going in the area of Lee, near to Venturi, where there's a very strong Lee, it's a very bad idea. It's going to be very turbulent. And yeah, I mean, if you're very skilled, no problem. It's not such an extreme problem of turbulence, but still, it's an unnecessary risk. And it's just, just a stupid stupid thing to do. Although, no, don't ask me how I know. And then you have, um, and then you have another option that you just catch you fly a bit further here behind and catch thermals there, and this is actually what works pretty nicely. And in case you are too low to catch the thermal, you don't go back because here there's the wind is flowing like this. So if you come back, you're gonna be just blown down by the wind. So what you do is then if you see that you won't make it for some reason, you were too low or you get some extra sink or whatever, and you get trapped in the valley wind, then you just turn and fly with the valley wind basically, and you do the turn like here, and you get with the valley wind. Actually, here there are some thermals being detached from the mountain, and then the valley wind hits actually this mountain on the other side. And yeah, so this gives you a little bit support, and you are able to come back and try again if you like. This is pretty easy thing to do, but it's important that you don't turn around and fly against the valley wind or try to get to this slope, because if you are here very low, yeah, then you're kind of like the valley wind is working against you because it's flowing like this. It's flowing this slope down, so it's gonna just flush you down. But if you stay on this side, then the wind valley is turning here, so it's actually due to the inertia, it's gonna flow up those slopes, and this will keep you in the air basically. Yeah, so that was my quick guide to this Passy Chamonix area. Let me know if you like this format, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate. If you have any comments, please add, and I wish you nice flying. and see you watching another videos very soon.